Good evening and welcome back to the Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where last time we had a small goblin invasion that was, I think, caused a few injuries but no worse to my dwarves as they hacked the goblins into little pieces, and now there are lots of little pieces of goblins in this stockpile waiting to be disposed of, as well as lots of little pieces of the local wildlife in this stockpile waiting to be butchered, or possibly just dumped in quite a lot of cases, because as I recall, everyone is currently not doing the dump item jobs. Indeed, there are... Oh, okay, there are only apparently 3 pending dump item jobs. Surely there are more items here waiting to be dumped, or are they mostly teeth now? No, it looks like maybe... Oh, no, I have to press escape in between these, don't I? Maybe the first batch have been disposed of, and I need to start marking more things for dumping. I mean, I assume most of these teeth cannot be butchered, being as they are individual teeth. So I think I've just found at least 4 items that want that are already marked for dumping. So why there are only 3 dump item jobs, I don't know. There's another one. Curious. Why are there so few dump item jobs on the... I don't think a single, even a giant leopard gecko's single toe is going to be butcherable. Ah, though that one then has a task. I wonder if that's the point at which it starts, like, standing a chance of being dumped. Now, there are even more of those. I don't know. Well, we'll let those get dumped and then we'll have some more space for storing other items there. And meanwhile, yes, here is a dwarf taking away an unwanted goblin corpse. Yes, we have bought all the interesting things from you, which were quite interesting. You did manage to bring some interesting animals with you. Oh, right, I think we may actually be like running out of kaolinite. Maybe we need to go and find another kaolinite cluster to mine. Let's have a look. Yeah. We have 1 kaolinite boulder. Okay, well, since we like porcelain, let's find some more kaolinite. Conveniently, it often... Oh, right, there's some damp kaolinite here. It's not even all damp. Why are we not mining that, eh? I mean, we don't really need the hematite. So we'll try to go around the hematite. But that should help with our kaolinite stocks. Oh, is it this bit that's damp? Yes. So, I mean, we could manually mark some of that for mining anyway. It just might get a bit tedious. Rather than carefully drawing in all of that edge, how we try to straighten off the edge a bit to make it easier to mark. No, be
careful in case you let the sea back in. I mean...
Well, yes, I don't think we're going to let the sea in down here. I think we're going to let an aquifer in. But like, we have reasonable drainage here. We've only lost 2 dwarves in the process of constructing the drainage, but now that we have the drainage, obviously we should use it. Oh yes, we have the second memorial, do we? Yes. I think the second one was Mr. MN Zephon, who now has a memorial reading in memory of Mr. MN Zephon, born 49, went missing in the year 114, slayer of the giant thrips, silent lulled, lover of pig iron. Yes, sadly went missing in the sense of fell down a drain and then like 50 Z levels into the caverns and went splat at the bottom.
Mysteriously ceased.
That seems like a drain you can do with the safety rating.
It has one now. Problem is, while you're digging it, I don't know if we lost both dwarves down there while they were digging the drains, but I think we might have. Essentially, there was too much water around, and the water swept them down. We don't really believe in like things like safety harnesses or anything. Working at height regulations. So why don't we have butchery tasks scheduled there? Are they impossible? Are we somehow in a situation where nothing in this stockpile can actually be butchered? Is the stockpile in the wrong place? Is this corner of it too far away? Well, we'll find out shortly. Someone's fighting a raven. When I say fighting, I mean removing one of the wings off with a morning star. I suspect it's quite well. I don't know if it's still alive, but it's at least not going to be very good at flying anymore.
Still quoth though.
Yes, yes. I mean, there are 3 agitated ravens on the map. That one seems to be healthy. That one seems to be healthy, but also appears to be experiencing trauma, so it may not be as healthy as it looks. Possibly healthy is a bit optimistic. That one is tired and terrified. Let's have a look at the middle one. Yeah, I think in that case, I think the raven that got its wing hacked off probably didn't survive very long thereafter.
So now you need to set a job to clear up on dead ravens.
Well, someone will do it eventually.
So that's a sort of default tidy up dead things job or something.
Well, we have a stockpile for dead animals.
There's no danger of miasma.
No, it's outside.
Okay.
And then we attempt to butcher them. The stockpile is full at the moment because, well, things... We're trying to reduce that by replacing most of our, well, many of our weapon traps with cage traps, so that the wildlife hopefully will tend to get caught in cage traps. Whether this will work, or at least will tend not to get caught in the weapon traps so much. Whether this will work, I'm not sure. So we're still, I think, working on, yes, building that minecart track across the river mouth. So can we see a raven round here? Not at the moment. Right, and the elven merchants are on their way again, probably, more or less. Wonder where they are. All right, they're still actually packing up. They're just officially departing. Oh, you were not very good butcher by any chance. Yes, you are still only a dabbling butcher. It's going to take you a little while to become good at this. Right, well, meanwhile, maybe we should see if we can find some goblin heads to put on this pedestal. That sounds like a goblin-y name. Let's try turning it on and seeing what happens. That still needs some construction. Oh yes. Urim Emalaral is apparently haunting people. We should possibly encourage them not to. How are we doing at building them a memorial? Ah, someone is engraving it right now. Oh right, that got a needs unbutcherable rotten nearby item message, which suggests that rather too much of this stockpile is actually out of reach of that butcher's shop. I'm slightly curious about the fact that there's this like line where below right of it we have whole skeletons. Well, actually we don't, because we have chitin, don't we? Is there anything here that's actually a skeleton? And that's probably a cat, which probably wants to be disposed of. I don't know that that line is really the edge. But on the other hand, yeah, okay, maybe everything here is actually too small to be butchered. It'd be nice to be certain what the range of of the butcher's shops is. I'm slightly tempted to just, mark. I think pretty much everything in there is already marked for dumping, but let's just go. I mean, there is a bag of turnip seeds there for some reason, which possibly doesn't need to be dumped. Well, a bag of seeds more generally. But let's just dump everything else in that stockpile and refill it on the grounds. There's nothing in there that I'm utterly confident we should be able to butcher. So now all of that stuff has to be dumped, and then maybe someone will bring in some more. Right, so that's one successfully displayed head, which we can now forbid so that it doesn't appear on the lists. And we can find another one. I'm doing this by the fairly unscientific approach of looking for heads on the list that sound like they are goblin names. I think that one's probably a goblin head. Possibly we need more places to dump things, but I don't know that that's really what we're short of. See, there was someone throwing something down into the rubbish dump. Oh dear, Geshud Avuzastis is also haunting the fortress. Well, we'll make them a... let's just add the usual thing. Make a slab, engrave it. Which is like... slightly cheaty way of working around the fact that I've made a mess of the stockpile attachments. I'm kind of beginning to think that maybe I just need to acquire magma just for dropping rubbish into. On the grounds that allows it to be properly destroyed. I mean, we could build an atom smasher, I suppose. That probably wouldn't be very hard work.
Okay, can you build atom smashers in War Fortress?
Well, you can, if you lower a drawbridge onto an object, it will generally destroy the object.
Right. And if you lower a drawbridge onto lots of objects?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I can't remember if there are objects. I think even artifacts can have this done to them, but they don't technically get destroyed. They just get moved to somewhere where you can't find them.
The princess is in another castle.
So we could redesign the tricky thing with that is that
Stuff on there without squashing the dwarves?
yes, and also if you don't like stop the dwarves putting things in there while the drawbridge is down, then when it goes up, it will hurl all of the objects that they've thrown away into the into the air as the drawbridge rises, which may well mean that your rubbish dump now has a pile of rubbish around it.
Or indeed that you now spread it across.
Yes.
Okay.
So this.
I still think this is better than an atom smasher in the sense that I was thinking of it of like you have to try and invent the dwarven cyclotron.
Yes. Yes.
But okay,
That's more like civilization.
yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel that in a way lava is neater. It's got a more one ring and Mordor kind of vibe. But I assume that there is a similar problem of not like ending up with dwarves in the magma.
The usual problem with making a pit of lava that you drop things into is that the lava will splash,
Right?
and then that will upset the dwarves who get it on them. Well, not so much upset as ignite. I mean, if they were merely burnt in the like, sense of being hurt, that wouldn't be so bad. It's the fact that they tend to catch fire, or at least their clothes catch fire, and then they set fire to everything else.
Right, atom smash as it is.
I mean, no, we could probably do it safely with magma, but we don't even have any magma in this fortress yet. Like, we've only gone down to the first level of the caverns. Whereas we do have machinery. Like, we could trivially build a repeater that just consists of a minecart going round and round a loop, repeatedly triggering the same pressure plate. That would then operate the drawbridge.
Doing that safely might be a bit trickier.
Well, we just wall it off. And then, I mean, the
the stuff in there.
yes, I mean, it's a bit tricky because someone has gone and dug out the layer. Oh, I've dug that out. I dug that out so I could build a wall round it, didn't I? Let's build a wall round it. I think, like, yeah, that's all just siltstone. Oh, apart from the white jade there. That side is just siltstone, isn't it? Yes. All right, we've already got a pillar there. Right, so now we are walling in this little area so that it doesn't flood so much. This area, yes, is just below where we would where our current rubbish dump lands. I think actually if we were going to do an atom smasher, we should do it slightly below the current rubbish dump so that we could construct it in a nice clean space and then dig a hole through the floor to drop the existing rubbish into it.
Confused there by the mention in one of those squares of a two-legged rhino lizard.
Yes.
Rhinos and lizards both don't have two legs. What a strange creature.
But the rhino lizard does.
Or that way as it did after the dwarves had been at it, possibly.
No. It's a specific species of rhino lizard.
Okay, right.
It's like a blind cave troll, which is not just a cave troll that happens to be blind.
Okay, right.
Might not even be blind. I mean, blind worms aren't blind. They just have a silly name.
Let's do that inside corner while we wait for the mining to happen. Of course, narrowing this outward exit corridor is causing the water level to rise a bit.
Two-legged rhino lizards apparently are extremely unselective about their environment. They live in everything from a scorching desert to a glacier.
Right.
Really savage areas. Is that a savage area?
Yes, we are. That's why we're getting like all these giant animals, I think. Yes, I think that was kind of one of the ways in which I tried to make where we were interesting. So what we could do then is we could actually construct the atom smasher here underneath the rubbish dump. So if we cut away some wall there, for instance, I suppose we don't need to worry about water leaking in there, do we?
The caption regular mining. It just occurred to me this regular mining is where you mine cubic zirconia or tetrahedrite. Not a platonic ideal minerals.
Okay, so in the process of trying to mine out some space for my atom smasher, I have struck a rather damp lignite seam. Well, in that case, let's go a bit further that way, though probably not actually. Yes, and then wall in enough that we that we don't lose any lignite. That's going a bit far really, but I'll do it anyway. And then we want to build a little bridge there, don't we? And we want it to raise that way. And, well, we may as well make it out of sandstone blocks, or... Why did you not just make it out of sandstone blocks? Are we out of sandstone blocks? Why have we got so many gypsum blocks? Yes, yes, but we do seem to make far more blocks than seems actually sensible. All right, that's suspended probably because someone is trying to move the right, the track's got suspended as well. Let's go and have a look at that. Someone's trying to move the pile of lignite from underneath. Right, we have more or less reached the end of that track anyway. We've still got some wood available, though I think we're going to need to fell more trees. Yes. The elves don't actually seem to be causing any trouble at all. It's the local wildlife that get annoyed. Do we have that slab carved? Yes, we do. Let us install the slab in the usual place for putting slabs. We don't have that many ghosts. Right, so yeah, we've got a few wood. I think I need to cut down more trees before I can build more minecart tracks, though. Right, have we now removed the lignite from there? Yes. So that can now be finished. That gypsum bridge is now installed. I think what we should do then is still waiting for those rough white jays to be collected, though. Is to right. Put a wall in there, and then that will right. So then what we can do is to build a door here, and we can lock that, and that's probably an acceptable way to keep people out of the atom smasher. Currently we have one jet door available. Okay. Actually, let's not install that door just yet, because at the moment it's conveniently letting the water out, and until we have the atom smasher functional, we probably want to let the water escape. And if we put a door in, then it will keep being closed. Right, Imalaral has been put to rest. What do we know about Erdim Imalaral then? In memory of Erdim Imalaral, born 34, drowned in the year 114, lover of the learned poem. And the memorial is currently coated with water. Not actually because of Erdim Imalaral's drowning, but because it came through the mist generator on the way here. Right, so that's the...
So was that the ghost who was flooding your fortress?
No, we've dealt with that one already, I think. That was some time ago. Right, so now what we need is to sort out a repeater, don't we? Right, so we're going to need... So the lowest speed you can have a roller-powered minecart going is 1,000, which is like... Is it 1,000? No, 10,000, which is one square every 10 ticks. And it takes 100 ticks for a bridge to respond to each request, and I think it doesn't respond again in that time, and it takes 100 ticks for a pressure plate to untrigger. So what that means is that if we make the track slightly more than 20 tiles long, then that will be the right size. You know, that's about the size of the test track that I just demolished, isn't it? But we don't actually, this can go underground. We can find somewhere where we can just carve it into the ground, into the rock, rather than needing to build a track out of like wood or metal on the surface. We don't care where, except it needs a windmill attached to it. There is a small amount of, yes, we could, there's a bit of solid rock at the edges of the sea, including like all the way up here where no one ever goes. So we could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could just build it in this little. I bet we can't build track. Oh, can we carve track that close to the edge? Can we build traps that close to the edge? Actually, is our question, isn't it? No, we are limited to about that far from the edge, so we can't use this convenient little strip of land that's otherwise inaccessible. But we could, for instance, carve the track mostly into this convenient patch of shale here, which is somewhere we mostly don't go. And that would save the need to construct tracks out of wood, which would save the need to fell quite so many trees, or rather we will still be felling the trees, we'll just be using them to build different things. Pinkbee says, do ghosts haunt their spots of death reliably enough you can use them as automatic immortal periodic lever pullers? I don't think they pull levers.
And if they did, they wouldn't reliably pull levers, even if they were reliably near the levers.
They walk through, they open doors, it appears, but sadly we can't really. But I mean, yes, we can trigger things off people walking through doors. We can have walking through the door fill a room with water, which will then drain again, and we could have a pressure plate in the room that's triggered by the water filling up. But I'm not going to try to use ghosts as repeaters. That's silly. So there's, I think, the southern edge of that. Yeah, this is slightly tricky because there's a mixture of clay, loam and shale around here. Possibly I should just build this repeater like over in a bit we don't ever go anywhere near, like all the way up here. But it feels like it should be somewhere slightly accessible. Right, so... Oh, actually, there's this room here, which is like almost certainly big enough and unused because it was basically a small gypsum mine. And it seems to have a mostly gypsum cavern floor. Right, let's carve that one into some tracks then. So as I recall, we do that by smoothing and then carving. Yes. Slightly too large an area, actually. So, all being well, we can actually smooth that. I know smoothing has been a bit of a problem for us. We do seem to have 2 pending butcher and animal jobs, both of which appear to have someone assigned to them, so that's good. Means that at least some things are getting properly dumped. But we did have a smoothing problem earlier, didn't we, where no one went to smooth things. We do indeed not appear to have any tasks set up at the moment for smoothing. Who are you giving water to? Thank you, Zeb. Yes, I was thinking that too. Have a child hauling a maple bucket somewhere. Okay, apparently whatever they were giving water to they've dealt with, and I wasn't paying enough attention to work out who it was. Now found themselves a horse cheese roast. Might even be going up to the... No, and are eating it in a dining room. Someone else... Is that just a random unassigned dining room? I think it is. It's a dining room without a table. Oh, you're now annoyed that there's no dining table in this dining room. Is it even a dining room?
If you're annoyed that there's no dining table in
No, it's an office. That's why there's no dining table.
Why can't you eat in the dining room?
I mean, it's an unassigned office, I think. Yes. But, like, we have a dining hall for this purpose. I'm going to lock the door soon.
I've been in offices. You can generally repurpose a desk as a dining table.
Yes, but it doesn't have a desk in it either. It just has a chair.
That's a crap office, fair.
Well, it's kind of a throne room.
So it's sort of an office for a king or other.
Let's lock the door to that office so that people don't try to use it as a dining room and then get annoyed. Now I will forget that I've locked the door to it and at some point assign it to some poor bureaucrat who will discover that they can't get into their office because someone's gone and locked the door. Oh, we seem to have a couple more coffins lying around. Let's just put them somewhere. So we are at least still butchering at least some animals. Which is probably helpful, and disposing of some dead goblins. But is anyone smoothing anything? That is the question. Doesn't look like it. Maybe that's why we can't do it like that. Also, there's still a stupid number of tasks involving dumping items and moving things around. Also, why is there a horse in the swimming pool? I mean, I appreciate that there's no actual swimming going on in the swimming pool at the moment, but... I suppose we could try just driving the atom smasher off some of the existing signalling equipment. I mean, which would work if we actually had any trains running at the moment. We might be close to doing so. There's only a small number of items that still need to be removed from the swimming pool. So, like, we could just hook the atom smasher up to one of the track circuits, and like that would cause it to activate reasonably frequently. Would it work? Would it be? Oh, but those are all designed to operate doors and gear assemblies, which have no lag. So they might actually be too fast. Yeah, I think the signals from the existing signalling system will be too fast for us to use for running an atom smasher off. I presume we've got an enormous slew of store item in bins jobs. Yes, because we've added some extra bins to this stockpile. And so suddenly we have places to put a load of, if you're too injured, maybe you should go to the hospital, except maybe your injuries are irreparable. What's happened to you? Udil Lasfeb. Why is Udil Lasfeb so incapable of doing anything? Ability to stand left lost, ability to grasp lost. Oh right, yes, you have a wounds, lower spine nervous tissue cut apart, has been sutured. And both of your lower spine, you've got arteries torn and motor nerves severed in both lower arms.
I almost want to say, why does this cause someone to cancel a pick-up item job halfway through, rather than, for instance, not accepting it in the first place?
Dwarves.
Yes.
I'm just going to say dwarves.
Basically unbreakable, except
Except quite badly broken nonetheless. Eventually it will cease being an owned item and this won't be a problem anymore. So yes, there doesn't seem to be any smoothing happening. I think we have a continued smoothing problem, which, like, we did get fixed. Oh no, there, someone is smoothing a floor. Excellent. Right, yes, get on with it. Before you forget that you know that that's the thing you can do. Something like that. Don't get distracted by, e.g., wildlife. You're going to gratuitously start in the northeast corner of the area that needs smoothing, yes. More or less, anyway. Well, apparently this is at least a satisfying experience. Even if your choice of order in which to smooth it is kind of odd. Ah. So what's that square then? Oh right, that's a floor of amber opal. Right, so yes, this will then give us a nice smooth floor, which we should be able to
slide along.
carve tracks into, and then build some rollers and stick a thing of a windmill above it and hook up a pressure plate to the atom smasher and have it go squish, 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 squish. And like this is 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is going to be about 30. Even if we do, I don't really need to smooth all of the floor, but if we do like 2 by 15 or so track, then that will be the right length, I think, at the lowest speed that we will be able to have the atom smasher go up and down nicely. There we go. There's one more square you could go and do. Are you going to do that one? Yay! Right, floor nicely smoothed. Now we need to actually draw some track on it. I think we should just do I mean, that's what I want, but I thought tracks at least did actually appear visibly on the floor when you tried to carve them. I'm now slightly concerned that it didn't. Right, so you can't even ask to carve tracks in soft floors. Oh no, maybe I just wasn't selecting it right. But we don't seem to get any indication that they've been requested. Actually, let's now try it in a soft floor. Yes. So we don't get a highlight when we try to carve tracks in floors you can't carve tracks in. So I'm going to, for now, assume that that's worked, and we'll see if anyone turns up to carve it, and whether they carve it in the way that I think they should be carving it. Meanwhile, let's see how our attempts at mining more kaolinite have gone. Oh, we've managed to get a decent amount out here, finding a way through this hematite vein, yes. Right, there I think we have found most of the edge of the kaolinite cluster on that side. There is clearly an amount of it here still. Oops, that'll be fine. We could have a quick look around and see if there's any more kaolinite that we know about that's easily accessible. Right, so there's quite a lot there as well. We'd need to be a bit careful about that to avoid accidentally penetrating the caverns there. So what we'd probably want to do is to like dig a tunnel up to there and then along the edge of the cavern so that we wouldn't auto mine through it. Right, how are we doing here? Right, we're still working on Geshe Avasastis's memorial. just put in repeating jobs there. People are just repeatedly getting interrupted there. We've got lots of wood available now, so we could build the next section of the roller coaster. And then, as is traditional, cancel the ends of it. There's a tree in the way. Wonder if we can just build straight through the tree, or do we have to demolish the tree? Fell, I suppose, is usually the word you use for trees. Okay, right, we have at least had a butchery task cancelled again. I think we should assume that ravens are too small to be butchered. Kias are too small to be butchered. As is that feather. A raven's right foot is definitely too small to be butchered. Like, that's a giant eagle skeleton. Surely that could be butchered, except it's now marked for dumping. Yeah, you can take skeletons apart into their component bones and then carve the bones.
Oh, right, that still counts as butchering. I assume butchering meant getting the meat off.
Not necessarily in Dwarf Fortress. If you've got a skeleton, it means turning it into a pile of loose bones so that you can do something useful with them. I mean, here we're successfully butchering a beak dog skeleton. I think one of our soldiers has a lot of pet cats. We have a soldier here being followed by like 4 of them. Oh yes, meanwhile, why is that pedestal is not quite constructed? We'll fix that. That pedestal has a head on it. That pedestal, someone assigned a right hand to it. That's not correct. We don't display hands on pedestals. What's the point of that?
Give me 15.
We display heads as on spikes, but we're not allowed to attach them to spikes. For some reason, even if you get a spike, you can't attach attach a goblin head to it. That looks like a dwarven name, probably, so we shouldn't put that on a pedestal. I suspect most of the goblin heads are fairly far down this list now, because obviously the ones might be higher up. No, that's definitely a dwarven name. Doesn't necessarily mean a dwarven name doesn't necessarily mean that it's the name of a dwarf. It may merely be a name given by a dwarf. But very few goblins are named by dwarves, owing to goblins being quite capable of naming one another. whereas, say, forgotten beasts can be named by dwarves. Sure, there must be some heads in here somewhere. That's presumably not a goblin, given it only has one name. Okay, we don't seem to have any spare goblin heads lying around. How very confusing. Very confusing. Oh well. I think I should do this in plus dump paint mode. Then I can mostly go, yes, we don't want any of these. Already done them, haven't I? Only slightly foiled by the fact that my left trackpad button is a bit unreliable. So I can't quite tell whether I'm doing this adequately. Actually, let's just drag over it. Oh, there's a head. Drag over it and stop when we find an, oh, there's one. Let's unmark that one for dumping then. Right, so that's right. We do seem to have a genuine shortage of spare goblin heads, which is a bit sad. Right, good. It does appear to be possible to construct that track from that staircase. That's nice. We can probably thus afford to try going a fair distance eastwards and seeing what happens. Okay, we can't build through the tree. Indeed, the track constructing mechanism goes, oh, I'll obviously have to go round that tree. I'm a bit dubious about that because, of course, that only works if the minecarts don't derail, and they might be running quite fast at this point. So let's run as far this way as we can, and then we'll see what we can do. Can we, like, dig through a tree or something like that, or do we have to oh, except we don't actually want to build another layer of track on there. Because there's already some track there. Um, right, it appears that I did correctly tag that track for carving because there it is carved. Right, so then we're going to want let's put the things that the various operational bits close to one end. I'm just wondering if we can run it off an existing power supply, but I don't think that's sensible. You could put the gear assembly there. That's actually not going to work because oh no, that'll be fine because it's not actually, there is this thing is all driven from the south end, isn't it? So we can go for a fairly unexciting mechanism because no one's ever going to come in here. Then we can build a roller. That's not the right thing. I want build machines rollers. I want lowest speed and I want it driving to the south, which will then immediately turn eastwards because that's how tracks work. And then we'll want, oh hang on, no I can't build it there, that's too close to the hole, to the entrance. Like, we're never going to be able to build the windmill above it. So let's put it there instead. Right, build machine gear assembly there. And then build machine rollers running, let's go to the right, lowest speed there. And then we can dig a hole in the floor directly above the gear assembly there, and then we can construct above that a windmill as necessary. Oh, and then we're going to also want a pressure plate, aren't we? Pressure plate triggered by all mine carts, which may as automatically resetting, which may as well go there. Right, and then once those have been assembled, and here comes someone to assemble the first of them, we can work out how to install a minecart in it. Right, let's do a bit more mining down here. Actually, in that mode will be quicker. Get ourselves a bit more kaolinite, though I think our major kaolinite mining is now going to be, well, that side is obviously safe to mine in general, so We could probably safely do that. And then once that's done, we can look at the other side. Goodness, that pedestal is proving quite awkward to construct. Have another go. Right, so we have the gear assembly in place. We have the pressure plate in place. That means we could now connect that pressure plate to the bridge down there. Maybe we'll get it wrong, but who knows. Still 2 objects on the track here. No, 4 objects on the track. They should be stored in the second-hand clothing stockpile, but the second-hand clothing stockpile still doesn't have all the bins it needs. Plus, I think everyone is moving objects anyway. Right, we now have, I think, the hole here. So now we could construct a windmill over it. Is that hole there we want, isn't it? Yes. And then let's put a floor hatch over the top of that so we can lock people out of it once it's running. This is the kind of place lots of people go. Have we got any... Really, our floor hatches are so bad. We've got some halfway decent cinnabar ones. We'll install a halfway decent cinnabar floor hatch. So we still need the rollers to be built. And the trap to be linked up. Here I think is someone coming to install the rollers. Maybe? Yes. Right. That's the rollers installed. So again, we seem to be in a position where nothing is butcherable. An awful lot of things are already tagged for dumping. Though not all of them. Let's just tag the whole lot for dumping. So rectangle mode. That's better. Right. But, like, the sheer number of dump item jobs currently pending is slightly silly anyway. Is anyone going to move these rough white jades? There is a task on for them, okay, it's just that everyone is far too busy to actually, like, move anything.
I mean, you do have half of your normal
Well, yes, I did.
If you're still scheduling the same number of jobs. I mean, and that's not counting that some of your population don't have any working hands.
I mean, arguably, if we have half the population, we should get twice the frame rate, and so the visible time it takes for things to happen should be about the same.
The better argument is most of what was consuming frame rate wasn't water.
Yes. I mean, I'm hoping that by destroying some items we might improve matters, but they should all be forbidden, and one might hope the data structures made that effective in stopping them consuming frame rate.
So what you're trying to say, Ben, is that you want to sacrifice half your population to Poseidon?
Well, I mean, that's why I turned down the population cap in the hope of making things a bit faster. And at least things haven't been getting much slower recently, so that's kind of good. Why is it wet? Why is there salt water here? Oh, okay, apparently the ocean waves can actually cause water to come in through the hole in the roof where the windmill is. Okay, well, that's kind of fine. Oh, there's only one pair of trousers now in the well, and a horse. In the why is that horse there? Is that our weird visiting horse? Yes, it's not one of our horses. It's a horse from the Kingdoms of Tin that has never left. And like has been shot at by passing goblins quite a lot and is thus covered in scars and apparently not standing up, possibly because it can't.
No health problems.
Allegedly, yes. I'm not sure I entirely believe that. So, yes, we just want that windmill to be constructed and that... Oh, the linking job is apparently done. So we do just need the windmill to be constructed now, and here indeed is the dwarf who's constructing the windmill. No, that's a dwarf constructing something else out of wood. Yeah, I mean, as long as the horse stays off the minecart tracks, we'll probably be okay. Actually, what should we do about... Well, no, what we should do... Let us create a new route, at least temporarily, for... No, that's not right. That's the... It's the route we want to name. Which will have one stop, which may as well be there, which will be set to push off east immediately always. Hang on, no, that's not correct. Because I had decided we would have left hand running on this one, so it should be there, push off east immediately always. Actually, for now, let's push off east immediately when full, so that it doesn't get, so that the minecart just gets placed on the track until the windmill is constructed. Could just remove those trousers. That would be really helpful. So if that repeater is linked up now, let's not close the door into there until we've tested the repeater actually operating. Why is there a forbidden sand pair there? Unforbid the sand pair. There are other forbidden items lying around. Is that why? Yes. Why? There seems to be a scattering of forbidden items in this corridor. It seems a bit weird. Someone is now sorting out moving the minecart into position. There it comes. Right, minecart placed on the track. Now we just need the windmill to be built. No one is yet scheduled to build the windmill. There are, of course, an awful lot of other items to build, so I suppose for now we could just have the dwarves push the minecart, but it would probably keep stopping in the wrong places. Well, we could find out, I suppose. Oh dear, something has got suspended again. Yes, there we go. I suspect these tasks will just cancel immediately. Yes. But we are still basically waiting for a bunch of dumping jobs to happen because there are far too many of those. So is someone on the push track vehicle job? Can't find it. Oh well. Ah, there's a minecart trundling, right. So, it is now about to trigger the pressure plate. Let us look down at the atom smasher, which is there. Let's see if anything happens to it. Hey, it moved! In the process, destroying the water that was on it. Right, we can build a door there then. without worrying about, because the water can now be destroyed by the atom smasher. Yeah, there is a slight problem there, but still, it'll do. Namely, that the only reason we're going to need that door to work be usable at all is if the atom smasher stops working. Right, and we can see the minecart gradually slowing down. Because the windmill still isn't built. Still, that looks like we do have a functional mechanism for operating the atom smasher. Now we only have the slight problem of needing to connect it to the bottom of the rubbish dump, which is tricky because the rubbish dump is full of water. Like, the amusing approach to this would be to try to cave it in, but I'm not even sure that would work. With the bridge at the bottom, it might destroy the bridge. So we do have mechanisms for digging upwards, but I don't think those work for this kind of job. Problem is, I don't really want to allow the water to escape sideways, because if it does, then all of these objects will escape sideways. There is a stupid approach. I could build a well above the rubbish dump and then ask the dwarves to remove water from the rubbish dump using the well. They might try drinking it, which probably wouldn't be very good for them. I mean, they mostly don't drink water anyway. Mostly only use it for washing with.
I mean, given all the stuff in there, it might not be very good for that either.
No. Oh, I could probably pump it out. That would probably be safe, wouldn't it? That seems like a more sensible plan. So that would essentially entail constructing a pump at this level that would then move the water sideways a bit, and we'd then need some drainage system. But there's so little water there that actually we don't really need to worry about much drain. Like, if we just dump it down into this corridor, it'll probably be fine. Like, curiously, we've already flooded this area comprehensively once already. So yes, that seems sensible and like not going to lead to utter insanity. So we need to dig a hole something like this. Probably, if we're going to be cautious about it. Also with a hole, yes, that'll be fine. It won't take very long either because it's all very soft ground. Meanwhile, while we're thinking about mining, right, so we've cleared out some kaolinite down here. So now what we could do is to like carefully cut along the edge of, oops, the cavern, and then when we mark the rest of that kaolinite for auto mining, it won't cause us to accidentally penetrate the cavern. And then we can do the same thing on the floor below and the same thing on the floor below that. So apparently this one is prone to flooding. But anyway, we'll start with this layer where it's all dry, because that's obviously nicer. Right. So have we now got the yes. Oh, this area's wet, is it? Right, yes. Actually, no, let's make that a higher priority. But we can safely build a pump here. Hang on, you've got this the wrong size, Harris. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Actually, don't worry about that. Yes, that'll be fine. We just want to dig. Let's build the pump, and then we'll. Actually, no. Maybe we can't because there'll be a wall in the way. Oh no, there won't. Right. Yes, build the pump. And I think those arrows are still backwards. And I think when we asked to place the thing, we then place the wall end, which is, again, correct. So I think that'll be a useful pump. Actually, that'll be fine. We don't need it to drain vertically downwards. Do need someone to dig this out reasonably soon. Right, there we go. Yes, okay, that's the one we found. It is now summer. Some tribute has arrived. As have some agitated ravens. Yes. Oh, we need to actually make that hole in the floor there, don't we? Yes. We don't actually need that square to be cut away though, because the only reason we're digging this tunnel is to allow us to get at that point in order to make a hole in this floor so that the water ends up in a corridor rather than somewhere inconvenient. Is anyone going to move though? There is still a task for moving those rough white jades, right? Meanwhile, how is that windmill doing? Oh, the windmill's built. So all being well, that those rollers are active. So I think when someone next comes to push that minecart, it will just start going round and round and round forever. We hope. Right, there we are. Let's watch that minecart and check that it does go round and round and round forever, and that it does operate that pressure plate such that the pressure plate releases. Okay, that's looking good. Now let's watch the... oh, there's a ghost. We should deal with him. Let's watch the thing down here. Up and down and oh, go on. Up. And down. Right, that's looking like the atom smasher is operating nicely continuously.
Next question is, can you get it to smash stuff without also smashing dwarves?
Yes, and without pelting dwarves with rubbish and that kind of thing. Right, let's forbid that
I mean, I think
floor
if you can
hatch.
manage it not to kill the dwarves, that's a big one first, right?
If you pelt them with rubbish hard enough, it can be fatal.
That's true, yes, yes.
Right, so now the atom smasher is... you can see we only barely get enough speed for the minecart to make a full circuit. But that's fine, that's all we need. Right. Ooh, a vile force of darkness has arrived. It's only 11 o'clock, I can't really get away with going to bed. Right. Do we parley again, given that last time this just ended up in utter entanglements? They're on the correct side of the river this time, at least.
On the leg.
I think I'm mostly inclined to say we don't, and we say, come and get it. Because last time, I think even when we tried to have a parley, it didn't quite work because the mayor never went out to meet them. Or something. I can't quite remember what happened. Let me just try to work out what else is going on. So we're still waiting for that pump to be built. We could try launching minecarts along the roller coaster, except they won't end up anywhere near the goblins. They will in fact end up in the sea, which isn't very helpful. Yes, I think this time we say no parley. Amphibious dwarves station here. Actually, let's remove that ammo stockpile. It's just inconvenient. Our one remaining non-amphibious squad station here. Right. We have incoming crossbow bolts already. But that's fine, they're missing. Let's close some of these. So mostly now we're hoping to wait for the goblins to make their way northwards. To be on the safe side, let's mark everything on the east side of the river as forbidden. Just to avoid any embarrassing going out to fetch items that the previous batch of goblins has left behind. Now we basically just stick to the usual approach of letting the goblins enter at their own pace. That too. Like, they aren't even riding the beak dogs this time. They don't seem to have brought any ogres with them. There are quite a lot of goblins. But, like, all being well, they'll just keep jumping in the river and drowning. Meanwhile, our miners have struck moss agate down here, which is nice. Here is our vanguard goblin. Our vanguard goblin whose combat skills are negligible.
Surely the person right at the front is most likely to get killed.
Yes, I suppose so. Already horrified twice at seeing dead goblins. She's now stopped. I'll have to follow a different goblin. Another goblin recruit who thus presumably has negligible combat skills. Yes.
Someone being possessed. Is that a different kind of strange mood?
Yes. Actually, the vanguard is currently a beak dog. Oh, a goblin with actual skills has taken the lead now. Goblin hammerman with skilled hammerman. That's almost decent. Let's check. Novice swimmer. Not good enough. Is uneasy after seeing goblins' dead bodies, but has decided they're entering combat now. Leaps across the river and falls in the river. I mean, I think has also, yes, let a weapon trap on the little island attacked them with a copper pike and like lots of other weapons.
That's quite an enthusiastic weapon trap.
Yeah.
I kind of, in my head, I picture weapon trap as a thing that just goes kathump once and then goes ratchets itself back.
Oh, but you could put 10 weapons in a weapon trap.
Right, it's actually more like a...
That's not, those are all separate weapons.
Yes, it's more like a pressure-activated blender.
Yes. So yes, and yes, it kind of crushed their leg, but I think in particular, they jumped out of the way of one of them, which I think then possibly they landed on another trap. But anyway, they've ended up in the river now and are thus drowning. So yes, that's our vanguard goblin in the river. Who's the next goblin? You're the next goblin. Presumably the beak dog is around somewhere, possibly not being quite so stupid. Oh no, there's our next vanguard goblin.
If enough goblins leap into the river, do they get to stand on each other's corpses?
I mean, that would feel like a properly goblin situation, wouldn't it? But still, kind of uneasy. We... Oh, has made it across the river. And he's dead. So is incidentally the one who fell in the river.
And the one who got across the river died. Not a weapon trap.
No, ran into some actual dwarves. Like the dwarves are all here, back at the far side of the delta at the moment.
Jeering and making rude gestures to
Yes,
the river.
yes, and like some of them will make it across. At which point, a quantity of steel weapons will come down on their heads. So, like this one did some decent jobs of blocking some of the weapon trap, but the slight problem of having 10 attacks coming in all at once is that this tends to be quite bad for ability to block all of them. And like there are now several slightly surprised dwarves in the river, but the notable feature of these dwarves in the river is that they're not drowning, because they know how to swim and have enough swimming skill that on falling in the water they don't immediately flail around and drown. So they're like a bit stunned from falling in the water, but... Oh, you're still not drowning at the moment. But on the other hand, I think that's just a matter of time. Oh, right, you're dead. Whether by drowning or not, I don't know. And like several of the dwarves have now got out of the river again. So this all seems to be working all right for now. Our big problem is there are an awful lot of goblins.
What is a goblinometer that says how many you've got left?
What we want is for our dwarves not to get too far away from the river, because the river is what allows us to win. Okay, now I worried a little at the moment at seeing someone drowning in the river, but it was a goblin. I think some of these goblins may possibly be doing all right in the water, at least briefly. Okay, that's a drowning dwarf. Why are you drowning? You're an adequate swimmer. Did something bad happen to you? Look like you should be okay. You don't seem to have like passed out or anything. Maybe stunned might be bad enough to be a problem. I don't know. I think the goblins are able to aim downwards into the river with their crossbows, which is quite entertaining. So probably it might be getting to be time to let the other squad... Where is the other squad? Look, I'm sure I summoned a squad to about here. Does like the Veiled Smiths turn out to only have one member? No. You guys. Here. No, that's not right. Here. Like, preferably a while ago. You were meant to be there, ready to pounce. Okay, a rabbit has starved. I thought that was going to be one of my military dwarves has died. No, it turned out a rabbit had starved to death. Right, I'm going to just check that our moody dwarf is correctly collecting items. Looks like it, yes.
Should think about going to bed because I do have an infinite quantity of laundry to put away.
So I kind of have this hope that my dwarves, given the goblins have spread themselves out a bit, will retreat back across the river in a bit. Let's just investigate how they're... Have you thought about the possibility of using a weapon, my dear wrestler? You've got one. You've got an iron longsword, but you appear to be busy punching people instead. I would suggest that this is not actually how you should be doing this. Oh dear, someone's died. That's bad. Our Spearmaster. Don't like that situation. So, I mean, I quite appreciate your ability to hold your ranks. Just like going, how many people have we got in each squad? Yeah, some of them are a bit short of people, I will admit. This one doesn't have a leader. You do seem to have like a bunch of really good military dwarves who aren't in a squad too. Can we... Are the Veiled Smiths like shorter people? No, we need a second... Well, didn't we create... I mean, is the Moons of Bolting meant to be that one then? Looks like it might be. Yes, well let's... Since we seem to have a bunch of legendary mill dwarves who aren't in a squad, because if they were in a squad they'd be listed down here with what squad they're in. I mean, it's a bit late really.
Looking at assigning people to a squad requiring them to go find their new uniform and so forth.
Yes, yes.
Dither around for
So they will spend a while dithering, but like, better late than never.
very much killed for breaking yourself in half as I get you off.
Damn it, dwarves have spotted there are more goblins ahead of them and are going after them. I mean, admittedly, each of these encounters does seem to have numbers on our side, so... I'm not too worried for now. Any sign of the... Actually, the Moons of Bolting I haven't even asked to come and join us yet. Let's ask them to come up here, because that might get them organised. No sign of the Veiled Smiths.
I don't understand. It looks as if you said you were going to ask me to come here, but the screen said you'd taken them off duty.
No, their routine is off duty. Their current order is station. So that means they're not actually doing anything except when I give them an explicit order, which is probably wrong, but is not a problem for right now. I mean, actually, we do appear to be running out of goblins, so this may not be much of a problem. Oh yes, I think the siege has officially ended. There are still a couple of goblins around. There's now one in here who is occasionally leaping across the pond in order to try to escape, causing dwarves to fall in the pond. Don't drown. That would be really embarrassing. I think the goblin is trying to climb the tree.
Oh, in that case, you know what to do. Take the stepladder away afterwards.
Goblins don't starve, sadly.
Yeah, but then maybe they're a sitting target for.
We don't do ranged weapons in this fortress.
In that case, you're just going to have to train an eagle. Oh dear, that goblin axeman is 255 years old.
Yeah.
On the point of overflowing.
Yes. And has fallen into the pond. I think they just got shoved by a passing dwarf. When I say shoved, I mean stabbed. Yeah, decent armour is pretty helpful.
Towns.
Like, there's some injury caused by this goblin axeman hitting someone in the head with their silver great axe, but it's bruising. And then the wrestler went, "Hello, here, be stabbed." And then fell in the... It wasn't that badly injured, but it did then fall into the pond and is thus probably not going to survive now. We saw the dwarf there managed to climb out of the pond. The goblin is not climbing out of the pond.
So what were your total casualties?
One, I think.
Yes.
I think one spearmaster. Oh. We haven't even finished with the previous event.
We haven't cleaned it up.
No.
We dismissed it.
Yes, but technically this goblin is still alive. Drowning, but alive. And a Cyclops has turned up. Where's the Cyclops turned up? Is that on the other side of the...
I just saw a flashing sea near Keskalokil wall. It then vanished. I don't know.
let's find... Yes, I should have been paused then, but...
I see a big sea. Oh, I don't see it now. You've got a dial over it.
Okay, I think someone did just attack the goblin while the goblin was in the... So they arrived there.
Where were you running to go? Different level?
I was... Oh, on the wall. Right, yes, okay. The Cyclops is standing on top of the wall. Terrified. And is named Akim Sparkled Breach the Prestigious. What are you going to do from that wall? Possibly, yes. Right, so let's... it's kind of tempting to release the ones who've just actually been fighting, but leave the two that I'm trying to get to come and help enabled. Really? You've crawled out of the water. Wow. Still living goblin. Winded, faint, heavily bleeding, but
And soggy.
that'll be under items. And soggy. But somehow not dead. This won't last. Well, actually it might last because I've just dismissed all the troops around there.
Well, I mean, if they're on the wrong side of the river and not actually besieging you anymore,
And bleeding.
maybe the Cyclops.
Sorry, one of my dwarves just fell into the pond, apparently entirely spontaneously.
Fancy a swim.
So, my dear Cyclops, what are you doing? All right, you've got down off the wall again. I mean, I suppose that's a way of dealing with the fact that I built a wall around my fortress, isn't it? You just climb over it. It's a dwarf and a member of the Veiled Smiths. Yeah, we're not going to just send one of you in.
So, do we know the Cyclops is hostile? Is that just a normal thing?
I think it is, yes. I think it's Cyclopes are intrinsically hostile. I mean, it's officially an uninvited guest. Right, I think the remaining goblin did manage to bleed to death, unsurprisingly, really. So now the Cyclops is our only problem. We would let's reposition these two closer to the fortress because that's where we really want them. Okay, maybe it's too late. I think someone may have spotted the Cyclops. Right. I mean, admittedly, one properly armed and armoured dwarf is probably a reasonable match for a Cyclops anyway. Tell them to kill it, but like, I don't think it'll be a problem for this one spear dwarf. Okay, it's taken quite a lot of work. There we go. Almost done by one spear dwarf. Maybe don't just punch it in the head, yes.
Not clear that the Cyclops managed to even get in a hit.
No. Blocked. Miss, 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 miss. Blocked, blocked. Passes out from exhaustion. Stabbed in the head by a spear dwarf, yes. Not nearly as dangerous as a large mob of goblins. Right, now we can unforbid all of the items on this side of the river, probably. Yeah, so there's Snamos Nerom, who was the last of the that batch of goblins who somehow managed to recover from drowning, crawl out of the pond, and then get killed again. Well, then get killed because, well, they were the last surviving one of their mob of goblins. So what are you doing? Nothing. Can we look at what happened to you? Yes, so you've suffered not so much from your from like injuries getting through your armour as that you got shot with a crossbow with an arrow that was heavy enough to tear bruise bone and tear your muscle on your in your ankle when you got shot in the foot, even though you were wearing a steel boot. So yeah, not much we can do about that really. Quite impressed that your steel spear managed to rip iron chain leggings to shreds. That seems a bit implausible. So yes, you were probably a bit lucky. Now you're going to have to crawl back and get your leg mended. So how did you get hurt? We're not told, or it happened before the beginning of this log. I mean, you've got a slight bruise there, but oh well. We should go and see what's going on with that. We should unforbid all of the items on this side of the river. Oh, hang on, except for the... Well, no, what we'll do is we'll do that and then we'll go through... Actually, we can do that. Then we'll want to go through all of these, forbidding them again, which I probably need a more efficient way of doing. See, I clearly should have organised things to make forbidding items easier. Those ones at least are fairly easy to forbid. But we don't actually want to forbid all the items on those squares. Well, let's not worry about that for now. We'll sort them out once. No one's going to actually remove the things from the pedestals. It's just slightly inconvenient. Right, well, that's a stupidly large number of dead goblins that we have to deal with. So, how about we make this atom smasher work? What do we need to do? What is there left to do? We need to pump the water out. That's the thing, yes. So let's try. Yeah, so that is indeed set up to pump from the south. Oh, that's not very good, is it? because the water will pour out through that diagonal gap there. So we want to dig that away. Don't start the pump yet, and put a wall in there. Which I think will work. Actually, we don't need to dig that space out, entertainingly. Oh yes, we probably do. Yeah, go on. Yeah, so here is our one dwarf who didn't survive, I think. Soxal near Bomrek, Thedboran Ison, which is a particularly good name.
Is that the same as four lines down, Saxel Landswip, the Beige Diamond of Planning?
Yes, I think that's it. That's their full title. Saxel Landswip, the Beige Diamond of Planning. Presumably they got this having slaughtered lots of goblins, but sadly have now been slaughtered by a goblin.
Win some, lose some.
Oh, yes, how's our animal training doing? Can I find any others that say trained? Probably they're at the bottom of the list because they're recent arrivals, aren't they? Right, so yes, they're still tending to lapse back towards semi-wild, which is a bit problematic. Let's keep them in the cages for now. We do also have some goblins in cages because of the cage traps that we set up, primarily for the purposes of collecting wildlife, but like they're also going to get goblins. So we'll probably want to arrange a mechanism for throwing them into the sea somehow. Right, someone is coming to dig that hole out so that we can conveniently get at the input side of the screw pump. This is an awful lot of faff for draining 2 squares, but I want to drain them in such a way that no objects get moved, if possible. Slightly worried that that square might end up filled. But I suppose water will leak in here and will eventually wash objects off that square anyway. So that's probably okay. Right, so now we just need someone to build the wall, and then we can start the pump. And pump like 2 squares worth of water out, which will take a couple of seconds. There, right, start the pump. Meanwhile, we should probably try to organise some kind of a sensible routine for these two. Just stick them on to staggered training for now. We could do something cleverer later, so that they spend some time training. Is someone going to come and operate this pump? So I think operating pumps should be quite a high priority job. Yes. Oh, everyone's going to sleep. Well, we'll stop soon then. But I want to get this, at least try to get the rubbish dump sorted. Oh good, the strange mood is working properly. We should do something about the ghosts as well. Right, so okay, it's still causing flooding in slightly unhelpful places. Oh well. I think that's all the water removed pretty much. So we can now what should we do next? Problem is as soon as I cut through the floor, things are going to start getting hurled around. We've got a little while before it floods down there, haven't we? So I think what we need to do is, well, we can keep running the pump for now. What we can do then is unlock that floor hatch, build a wall from that staircase here. Is that going to be wise? It's probably fairly safe. Because I really want, well, the thing is we're going to end up with stuff stuck on this staircase anyway, aren't we? And we're then going to have to work out a way to fix that. Well, let's build a wall there anyway, because the fewer squares we have that we need to clear, the better. Now going, how can we make this hole such that... Oh no, let's just see what happens. Like if at worst we'll end up having to move an awful lot of items. Do we just stop pumping now? No, let's leave the pump running for now. Because that will make sure it stays dry down there. Damn it, people are now walking through here because I opened that hatch at the top. That's fine, we'll lock it again before we turn anything on. Well, we can try anyway. Good. I'm now not sure whether we need to bother building this wall. Let's see if anyone's working on it. Not at present. Let's at least forbid the door at the bottom. Right, I think actually I might not have enough patience to wait for this wall. And it might be more fun to attempt to dig through the floor and hope for the best. But there is a slight danger that all of these objects are going to get hurled around if we do that. I think that means that I want to stop the minecart temporarily. But the thing is, so how does this work? So at the moment the bridge is down. Minecart has now landed on the pressure plate. So the bridge is still down, then it goes up, but that's because the pressure plate is currently active. Though admittedly the pressure plate is about to deactivate. And then it goes down again, yes. So we can't really pause with the bridge up without doing a lot of extra work. Let's cancel that wall because I don't think anyone's going to build it anytime soon. And instead, now that we safely can, let's just mark that square for mining. And actually, let's stop operating the pump. Actually, let's block access from up here. Because that way you can't use this as a through route. And thus the only people who can go down there are people who actually have business there, which will be people digging this hole in the floor. And let's also make that a really high priority digging task. In the hope that that will cause someone to actually come and do it rather than moving bits of dead goblin around. Whether that will actually happen is another matter. Because there are an awful lot of bits of dead goblin to move. There's not even anyone burying our dead dwarf yet, which is kind of sad. Yes, if the water gets too deep here, we might have to do something about opening it up again. For some reason we have oysters and moon snails in our corridors. Come on, come and do some digging. It'll be fun. Thank you for constructing a miraculous mechanism. It is called Wilt Takers the Confining Boot. It is a gypsum mechanism. All craft dwarf ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with round gypsum cabochons, studded with copper, decorated with giant cave spider silk, and encircled with bands of cushioned gypsum cabochons, pear-cut blue jades, round brilliant cut green glass gems, cherry wood, and giant blue jay leather. This object menaces with spikes of blue jade. So yes, well, we'll obviously have to build a trap out of that or something. Well, if we build a trap out of it, it will be miraculous in that it will never jam, for instance. At least for if it were a weapon trap. Now, slightly concerned that I might have somehow made this inaccessible, but surely I haven't. You can get to that staircase, which you can get to from there, which you can get to by sneaking through that little gap there. Someone bury this poor dwarf. I'm just like wondering what all the dwarves wandering around are actually doing. Pick up equipment. Yes, well, that's a generally complicated job. Storing my own goat leather left mitten. We do have a couple of badly injured dwarves in the hospital. Let's see what's wrong with them. Yes, you didn't seem to have many things that looked like they were likely to be cause major injuries. What's actually happened to you then? Okay, you did manage to get, yes, a fair amount of broken limbs and thus to need quite a bit of repair, and you're now, yes, on that traction bench being stretched or what have you. You haven't done anything since you got, oh right, yes, you got somewhat, you were unconscious and being repeatedly stabbed, but your iron helm basically kept you safe. That's quite impressive. But, right, yes, okay. Being hit in the head with a silver morning star doesn't help much with your iron helm can't save you there. You managed to lose an ear and then get a fractured skull through your iron helm. That's quite painful and a bit scary. We've managed to suture your skull back together again, though. That'll be fine. At some point we'll want to drain some water out of the river to get the bits of goblin out of there, but given how many of them need to be, how many items there are already to move, I don't really want to make even more items available. And we do have like 4 miners assigned. But no one's actually doing any mining. Maybe we're not going to manage to get the atom smasher working right now, simply because everyone is too busy clearing up after the siege. So you still need... All right, now I'm pretty sure we had more things needed there, so I think you are getting treated. Good. All is well, at least in the hospital. It's just a bit of a shortage of people willing to come and dig a very small hole in the floor. I could go for find someone who's doing no work, but I kind of suspect there is no one. Well, there are a few people marked as no job. Can I thus just stick you into the miners and see if that helps? Oh, you're Udal Lasfeb, who can't do any jobs. Right, yes, okay, that's perfectly normal. How about you? Right, I have assigned you to being a miner. Sadly, that means you first need to find yourself a pick. That's quite a lot of bracelets you're wearing there. Right. Well, that's a way to get a job done. So I'm slightly confused by your routing. Right, digging. We have a hole in the floor. No enormous pile of items just underneath it. Some masterworks have been lost, which means we have just destroyed, I think the timing ended up being just right, all of the items that were in our rubbish dump. Right. I strongly recommend you get out of there. So I think that's now got things to the point where we where the atom smasher can smash atoms and has a way of getting like objects in there. It just opened and closed, thus destroying the remaining water on it. Right, so now at least items that are put in there will actually get destroyed. Oh, and those rough white jades have finally emerged from that little cubby hole, which means, well, I mean, admittedly, it's going to be slightly silly. We'll have to. Oh, hang on, that cluster there needs to be dug out as well. Well, there's no hurry for that. But it should still be done. And then we can build the wall around it. Right, so now we have a rather rough but functional atom smasher. I think we might want to arrange things so that items, there aren't any like shelves that items can get hurled up onto, which will probably involve like digging all around it and building walls and so forth. But the fundamental mechanism looks good. So that's nice. Right, now we're just in the situation where we have far too many dead goblins. Also, our second-hand clothing stockpile is getting silly. Oh, did we manage to get the this year's tribute? Yes, I think so. They brought us a coyote leather quiver, an oaken bucket, a coyote leather water skin, an alpaca leather quiver, and an iron cap. Well, the water skin might be helpful. So is anyone dumping an item? Let's see if we can see an item being dumped. No, no one is dumping anything. How sad. Yes, we're still making more caskets. There's an argument we've got enough of them now. I think the task for making caskets is like finite. But I should check. No, it isn't. It actually goes on indefinitely. Let's. Is there a suspend button? There isn't, is there? I think we've probably. So I think yes. The idea was that I would keep making them until I filled up all the space, but I think that's just going to be too many. I've cancelled that. Let's stop making coffins. We've got enough. Like, what we need is for people to be more enthusiastic about putting dead dwarves in the coffins. Cough. Rotten corpse there, because no one is willing to sort out burying it. Observe here a stray black bear wandering around in my fortress. Delighted at after being near a waterfall. Right, well, it appears that basically our fortress is now completely full of store item and dump item tasks. So possibly I should leave it at that. And go to bed, because I think not much is going to happen anytime soon now. At least until the next round of goblins turns up and makes a nuisance of themselves. So many teeth we need to get out of the river. And well, we are able to destroy items now. Whether this is actually going to help us or not, I don't know. So it looks like our giant wild boars are there a sensible way I can say inspect the creature? No. One of them has its training and one is now fully wild again, is that right? No, it looks like they're at least a little bit. I think when it said it has forgotten training, yes, they've just gone back to semi-wild. So they haven't become fully wild. Anyway, yes, we'll probably want to pay some attention to them, because it would be nice to get them trained up to the point where we can let them out of their cages. But we have a happy bear wandering around, and indeed, presumably somewhere, a leopard. Oh, the leopard, is that the leopard? Yes, you're a tame leopard. You don't need to be kept in a cage. We could try training you for war, but later. Right, so yes, still far too many dead things that need to be tidied up. The dwarves are working on it, but it's going to take them a while. Not least because there are so many other things they want to do, like sleeping. So yes, that's an excellent plan. Pinkbee says, I never thought the leopard would wander around my fortress, sobs Dwarfu, etc. Yes. We're hoping that the leopards will eat the goblins' faces, really. Well, the leopard. But we'll see. Tomorrow is indeed not a school night, but I still think it's time for me to go to bed. As it were, yes. So I'm going to snooze off now, and we will see you next Friday. So until then, good night.